So I think we are online to celebrate Bao Phi's 50th birthday. I'm Viet Nguyen. I'm going to be your MC for tonight. It's so cool to be here with all these amazing poets and with you out there in the audience as well. But I've known Bao for a very, very long time. And I swear to God, he does not look younger than 49 years old. So it's amazing how well preserved you are. Asian don't raise, and so they say. And I'm sure the Minnesota Freeze helps to preserve, this incredibly handsome appearance. You're going to hear a lot of people talk about how incredibly handsome Bao Phi is tonight because we all had to sign a pledge in blood to acknowledge that. But Bao is doing something incredibly generous. He's celebrating his 50th birthday with the Diasporic Vietnamese Artist Network and doing a fundraiser for us. I'm a part of that organization. It has its roots going back a long time, actually, to UC Berkeley and my student days with a bunch of other young, passionate Vietnamese American artists and writers. We were looking around and we wanted to produce art and writing, and there just wasn't an arts organization that we could turn to. So we built our own. Back then, we melodramatically called it Mc Vamao, Ink and Blood. And as we got older and stater, it turned into the Diasporic Vietnamese Artist Network, which probably looks better on your 501(c)(3 and for arts and grant applications and things like that. But what we do, we put on, we support Vietnamese and other Southeast Asian diasporic writers through publications, residencies, workshops, and I'll tell you a lot more as we go along. There'll be little interesting factoids, I hope, as I introduce each of our fabulous writers tonight. But we're going to start with Bao, the man of the hour himself.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, everyone, friends, family, community, therapists. Thank you for being here tonight. The internet is a whole big, vast galaxy, and we are thrilled that you've chosen to join us in this little corner of it. Before we get started and we roll through this, I want to give a quick thank you to everyone at DVAN. So Isabel, Kathy, Ben, Annika. Annika's doing all the stuff behind the scenes right now so we can mess around online. And of course, the amazing artists who have donated their time and talent tonight. If it was just me and I had this idea and I would try to get you all to come here to donate, DVAN could only hope to make like $10, $20. But these gracious and talented artists are here and will blow you away, and 100% of all the proceeds will go to DVAN. And I want to thank the artists for agreeing to do this uh, and for such a great cause and such a great organization. All right, before we get started with the poetry, though, I want to tell you that for my birthday, I had considered asking everyone who knew me and was willing to read or reread Gary Okahiro's Margins and Mainstreams. Those of you who know me well know that the drum that I bang all the time is about Asian American solidarity rooted in community and a true solidarity that goes beyond kind of a exceptionalism and what some people call a model minority martyrdom. Of course, Gary Okahiro passed last year, but when I got the idea to do a poetry jam instead, I still wanted to start with some type of dreaming or vision along those lines about Asian Americans in solidarity with other historically marginalized communities and being in the world. And when I'm too dumb to work through difficult community thoughts and strategies myself, which is like a lot of the time, one of the people I go to first is Parag. Parag Khandhar. I have enormous respect for him. He is a solidarity. He started a solidarity economies law firm. Like I can't even say that, right? And he's an experienced counsel to grassroots groups, nonprofits, and exempt organizations, philanthropies, cooperatives, social enterprises, and community funds. He's going to start us off with just like a 5 minute calling in before we get started. So without further ado, please welcome Parag Khandhar.
Thank you, Val, for that just really generous welcome, and for inviting me to say a few words before all of these amazing poets, and making the occasion of your 50th one in which we can be in community together and support DVAN. You're an amazing community builder. You are a wonderful writer, and you're a trusted friend. Thank you all for watching this live on February 11th, 2025. And to those of you in the future listening to this, knowing you're in our future gives me pause to remember that we are not stuck in any one moment, no matter how dark it might feel. I falter emotionally sometimes because I have wanted so much to be known, to be held in that knowing. I told myself that the deepest expression of love would be someone knowing me well enough to comfort me in my darkest hours without my having to communicate what I need. But perhaps I was taking a shortcut. I didn't want to tell someone what I needed. If they love me, they should just know. I learned the hard way that sometimes, or often, that's not true. No matter how wonderful someone is, they can't read your mind or your heart. But what they can do is listen. Listen with their whole bodies, their hearts, not judge you, not quantify or qualify or compare or try to fix you. They can listen. Sometimes they can't do much more than that, but to be truly listened to and heard is a healing gift. When I think about our communities, Asian Americans and all our resplendent multiplicities and recombinant identities, I recognize the same wish to be known, to be seen, to be held in the embrace of a solidarity that sees me and us, not as honorary whites or as a silent A in BIPOC, or as whole and valued, but as whole and valued and knowable. Sometimes this desire to be known shows up as we work really hard in solidarity spaces to be the best allies and co-conspirators, subsuming our needs and our community's needs for what is most urgent, what most people say is top priority. See us, we think, waiting patiently in line for our communities, our stories, our struggles, our existence to be known, to be learned, to be championed. We're still waiting. Sometimes that wish to be known shows up in our personal relationships, patiently explaining or quietly stewing about something so fundamental about ourselves that the other person just doesn't understand. It's not inscrutable. Just be curious and ask more questions. And there are layers of feelings in that knowing, the guilt we harbor about many things, the relentless imposter syndrome, the insecurity from wondering if we're being hypersexualized or hyper desexualized, the micro and macro erasures. I guess I'm realizing that ultimately, no one can really know us as individuals, as communities, like we can know ourselves. And it's the act of coming together to support us in our vital dynamic spaces like DVAN that we better know ourselves. And with curiosity, we can better know others too. And as Adrienne Marie Brown and Octavia Butler and many others have reminded us, knowing one another better is how we build trust. Building trust is how we build strong relationships, and strong relationships are how we win. And change is the aspect of the divine that we can most readily embrace in our daily practice. And now, as I think about change and knowing, I realize that I'm changing every day, just as our communities, our community formations, and who and what and why we are is constantly changing. I long to be known, really known, and now I realize I can't be really known. Only frozen in what people or a system thinks it knows about me, only for it to be totally outdated already. So maybe I want to be known anew again and again. I want for people and institutions who think they know me to approach me with the sense of wonder that comes from discovering new things about someone you thought you knew. May we all approach each other that way, welcoming surprise and delight in what we do not know about one another. And may the journey of discovery never end, even as we continue to learn one another anew each day. I wish that for you, Bao, as you turn 50, to discover yourself and be discovered anew again and again, even with the deep relationships that you've built and nourished over your life. And I wish that for our communities too. As we grow and evolve in this project called America, where it's easy for us to be ignored, maligned, and actively erased. In the words of Kusajima, we're still here, we're going strong, and we're getting tired of saying we belong. To us and others, learn the names we call ourselves. Don't whisper our names or change them to fit in your mouth. Learn and see us as we wish to be seen, rather than as you have been told to see us. Let's not apologize for who we are, for we, collectively, are beautiful, are strong, are enough, and we is a small word that can hold us all. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Parag. Yes. And here's to being known again and again with wonder and curiosity. I can't think of a better way to have started this off. So thank you for conjuring and creating that space for us. Thank you 100 times. Thank you for this and all the other stuff. You already know, man.
Our next poet is Ed Bok Lee. He's the author of three books, including World and Mitochondrial Night, as well as short stories and plays. Ed's poetry has been translated into French, Italian, Spanish, Korean, and Chinese, and his honors include an American Book Award, an Asian American Literary Award, a Minnesota Book Award, and a PEN Open Book Award, among others. Hi, Ed. Muted.
Thank you, Viet, and everyone for being here. Bao, man, happy birthday. So many memories, so many birthdays, so many princess cakes. You don't know, Bao likes princess cakes. I have one poem. It's called Super Insensitive Species. I used to, when I read it, I have to usually set it up, but I don't think I have to do that tonight. It begins with a little quote from Scientific American. Quote, Asian carp, introduced in the 1970s to control weeds and parasites, have been crowding out native fish, compromising water quality, and killing off sensitive species. Unquote. From Invasion USA, Asian carp invaders have taken the Mississippi, are the Great Lakes next in Scientific American. Super insensitive species. The Asian carp are on their way, thrumming waters, thrashing over dams mid-air. You American engineers who released us into your streams and lakes, how could you forget the Chinese Exclusion Act, 500,000 top knots, wishing not only to dig and blast, but breed. I am young and shiny in Prada at the mall. I am hunched at the bus stop, grease-stained, smoky lungs full of sad erhu songs, walk and rolling through your suburbs, sardine-like in a Honda, hard down Wall Street on a Ducati rocket at 4 a.m., padel tennis rackets in my Gucci bag clattering, a Bel Air clinic designed to disguise how to re-envision this land of opportunity with even wider than Western eyes. Koreatown, peaceful cloud on Snake Mountain, tattoos, myriad in late-night cram schools of swishing bubbles like slitty mermaids at your sailors' hulls, eating my own kind, even my own tail to survive. Feel our silvery fins sting through sludge and slimes. California and New York have long teemed with our disease. Milwaukee and Chicago, how will your shores survive such frantic froth? From Olympia to Providence, it's a new day. Our 40 horsepower jaws so snappingly say, so bend over because the Asian carp are on the way, polishing your platinum ingots, boardroom doorknobs and bylaws, maybe not yet the whitest house, but fast scaling ourselves clean on the jagged edges of glass ceilings, bottom dwelling in deepest cyberspace, chomping up bargain real estate. How can the other fish possibly compete with no duck blood, biryani, pad thai, or kalbi sinu stuck between their teeth? Melting pot, okay, but not my fish head, not my GPA, not my child's yellow Lamborghini-shaped harbor-bound birthday cake. Reverse racism, affirmative action, quota, what you say? Nah, we don't roll rigged games. Art of war jungle tunnels through your mind is our way, and it's too late for you to learn how to play because the Asian carp are on their way. Dostars turbaned like 3 times the brain, shoguns blazing chopsticks, and perfect SAT scores like rain. Ancient, sawtooth devils shimmying up onto land to squirm, crawl, stutter, walk about, and one day say, yo, where did all the black elks, standing bears, and Pocahontases go? Who rode off with all their horses, confiscating their guns? Who overforested, then pumped green muck into rivers, thinning the salmon? Whose sugar and cotton plantations enslaved? Who converted whose heathen souls to fill whose churches and factories? Who profited? Who outsourced? Who instituted internment, the H-1B visa and the KKK? Who bombed whose family's flesh and bones in Hiroshima, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan back to the Stone Age? Yes, the Asian carp are on their way, and life, as it's known, can't help but change. But really, if we must fish for euphemisms. Who brought whose eggs and minnows here to invade? Whose waters, land, and purity in the first place?
Love that, Ed. Thanks so much. And then we're going to look at Asian carp in the same way again. Did you know that DVAN has sent over 40 writers to artist residencies in the United States, France, and Vietnam? I don't know if how many of you have been to artist residencies. I assume many of the people on the screen have. It's basically socialism. It's incredible, and that's what we try to do with the DVAN residencies, is to support these artists. Our next our next speaker is Jennii Vo, a Vietnamese American actress and spoken word poet. Her dynamic career blends acting and performance poetry. Jennii made her television debut in the Peabody and Emmy Award-winning series Watchmen, where she played Officer Jen, marking a milestone in her journey as a rising voice in both the film and literary worlds. Hi, Jennii.
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much, Bao, for having me here. Happy birthday. And I don't know if I ever shared with you this, but you are the first poet that I learned about in high school because my math teacher, Miss Tran, introduced me to you. And I actually, in the beginning of my poetry writing, you were the person that I would read. Your poems I would read first before I write something. So you were a huge inspiration. I'm just going to go right into this. I've imagined what his hands would feel like, how his palms would fit inside of ours. I've wondered how his laughter could have brought more joy than a bottle of wine. Lately, I've been curious if he would have had your eyes or mine. I don't feel the need to wish you to go to hell because I can see you're already standing there, alone. Simmering rage burning in your telltale heart and murder in your eyes. It's unbelievable to me that we were once so in love. Now you treat me as if I'm the one who's not alive, when you're the one who chose to be cut off from the vine, bearing fruit covered in maggots and flies. You know, the devil is an accuser, and your tongue is coated with his lies. I've been asking God to show me how to love you, how to forgive you, how to not suppress you so I could forget you. I want to forget you. I want to delete you into oblivion. I want you to know what it's like to have another heart beating inside of you die. I want to leave you behind. But I met someone and I'm in love. He's perfect. Truth is, he has always been there. To be honest, he was the one I would always talk about the most with my friends when you and I were together. I just never knew how to talk about him to you. I realized that you didn't have the ears to hear or the eyes to see. Thank you for ending our relationship, by the way. It was the best decision you've ever made for us. Because I was able to get to know him intimately. He showed up and chose me. When you broke our vows and rejected me, he stayed by my side, especially when I was at my worst. I'm finally sober. He's the only one who quenches my thirst. I no longer care if the moon is full or if the stars or chakras align. The truth, the way, the life is the only one on my mind. I don't need divination anymore because now I know my destination. With him, I have a love beyond my own understanding. He's led me here to meet you, to love you at your worst, to bless you even when you've thrown curses at my name, to do good to you even if you hate me. I still pray for you since the day you walked away. I pray that your heart will stop breaking and blaming and shaming me for something we both decided to do. Sometimes I still wonder if our son would have looked like you. The highway to hell is beautifully wide, and you're standing right at the center of it all, still proudly holding up your pride. I pray one day I'll get to see the heart of Christ resurrected in your eyes, your head covered with the helmet of salvation because you've traded in your pride to hold up the shield of faith with the belt of truth buckled around your waist and the breastplate of righteousness fitted on your chest, your feet walking in the gospel of peace, wielding the sword of the Spirit wherever you go. A new creation. I'm here to remind you, pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. All we need in this life of sin is Jesus Christ, who died for us all. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennii. That was really powerful. You feel it through the screen, and imagine if that was in real life with a room full of people. Did you know that DVAN has sent? Did you know that we've hosted public events and readings in France, Australia, and Vietnam? I was only able to go to the Australian reading. That was really amazing. I can only imagine how great it was to see readers and writers perform their work in France and Vietnam as well. Our next speaker is Giles Li. He's a father of three who has worked at the intersection of arts, organizing, and the nonprofit and philanthropic sectors for more than 25 years. And he was also a poet for some of those years, too. Hi, Giles.
All right, thank you, Vid. I was ready to read a whole other poem, and then Ed read his Asian carp poem. So now I want to read my Chinese turtle poem. So I feel like this is a call to action for all the Asian men on this panel tonight. Read your invasive species poem tonight. Fortunately, my invasive species poem is still relevant given the state of the world and the country. All right, man. So it starts with a little bit of a context setting. This is a headline and a quote from an article. September 12th, 2015, Boston Globe. Chinese turtles on Quincy Beach alarm experts. Now the quote. It appears that someone is releasing this non-native and potentially invasive species into local waters. Most invasive species have detrimental effects in non-native environments. Now the poem. 16 random things about me. Actually, I was born in New York and have been living on this beach for 9 years. 2. I was released here, yes, but this is my home, so being released here doesn't define me. 3. Other turtles warned me about living in Quincy, said I wouldn't be welcome. 4. Guess they were right. 5. I'm not an invasive species. I'm just not what you're used to. 6. I see cigarette butts, candy and ice cream wrappers, old flip-flops, empty sunscreen bottles, sandwich bags, soda and beer cans here every damn day. 7. Do I have a detrimental effect on the environment? 8. I eat what other turtles eat. 9. No, I'm not big for my kind. Turtles across the world are remarkably similar in size. 10. As far as I can tell, most of you didn't give a damn about turtles until you decided I was non-native. So I guess the other turtles are what? Native? 11. You sure about that? 12. I'm not the only one. It's just that the others prefer to stay hidden. Me, I like the shoreline, so I guess I learned my lesson, since I now know it's populated with snitches. 13. I don't know why this insistence on calling me every time a Chinese soft-shelled turtle. All the time, Chinese soft-shelled turtle. Some of you keep red-eared sliders in tanks at home. What do you call them? Turtles. Some keep Indian tents at home. What do you call them? Turtles. Box turtles are turtles. Alligator turtles are turtles. Painted turtle, musk turtle, terrapin, all turtles. Me, Chinese soft-shelled turtle. Okay. 14. Having a soft shell, by the way, does not make me lesser than other turtles. 15. Sometimes I think about riding the ocean out as far as it will take me. But I've already made one move in my life, and I might just never be ready for another. 16. Life on this beach is hard and lonely. I'll never understand why you couldn't just see me here and leave me alone. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Giles. All of these writers that we've heard from, including Giles and that really cool poem, probably got their start somewhere in a small magazine or a small online publication. And did you know that we at DVAN have our own such publication, Diacritics? It's online, it's our blog, but really it's sort of a magazine. We published 335 writers in Diacritics, and some of those writers have gone on to publish their own books. Our next speaker has quite a few books, Marcie R. Rendon. She is an enrolled member of the White Earth Nation. She is the best-selling author of Where They Last Saw Her and the award-winning author of the Cash Black Bear Murder Mystery Series. Rendon's first poetry book, Anishinaabe Songs for the New Millennium, was released in 2024, and Stitches of Tradition, a children's picture book, was published in October of 2024. Hi, Marcie.
All right. Welcome to Indian country, you all. Happy birthday, Bao. I'm going to try and read 3 sort of short ones. I write poems in spare moments, the space bar being my favorite computer key. I live whole lives between one inhale, exhale, breath space. Beethoven didn't stop at one note, nor Bao Phi one rant. J. Otis Dredd, Picasso painted canvas after canvas. He didn't let one masterpiece stop him. I can't stop at one shot. I live life on semi-automatic, just one hair's breadth from rat-a-tat-tat. I need one life lived fully where every second counts. I've wasted years sleeping. In days eating, I was ADD before Ritalin. Put a screeching halt to brain waves running on fast forward, brain waves beating ocean waves, racing out to sea. Second one is called Mad Dog. It's loneliness and Mad Dog, my constant company. 12 years of mission school erased my history. Loneliness and Mad Dog, my only company. Loneliness, confusion, delusional illusions. All I have are drunken bones. A logger's long forgotten dreams, loneliness and Mad Dog to keep me company. Oh ah hey, drunken dreams are all you get from me. You want to know the past, my son? Oh ah hey, romantic inconsideration for a history drenched in blood. Relocation, forced acculturation, termination, excommunication, omnio domino, Jesus Christ. Oh hey, romantic inconsideration for a history drenched in blood. Mad Dog and loneliness, my only company. Mad Dog, Red Dog, Jack Pine Tree, Winter Wind, Snowblind, old fools like me. Black Dog, Old Dog, Crow Dog, Spotted Hawk, 3, Yellow Hawk, Raven Wing, goddamn me. The trees, they speak to me. The trees, they speak to me. Birch and willow hold dreams, waiting to be free. Drunken bones and long forgotten dreams, remember destiny. The jack pine and the cedar preserve a dreamer's memory. And this is the last one. What if I never said another thing, but sat silently, smoking filterless cigarettes, drinking Colombian coffee, holding grandchild after grandchild on a lap ever leaner, ever bonier with age. What if I never wrote another word, but filled my heart with beauty, sat silently wrapped in fog, while thunderstorms shook me to the bones and lightning currents connected brainwaves, thought waves to spirits dancing on the shoreline? Would my silence drive you crazy? Miigwech.
Thanks so much, Marcie. That was really great. Marcie has quite a few books published. I think many of the people on the Zoom screen have books published, and that's been one of the big things that DVAN has done. We have publishing agreements with 2 publishers, Texas Tech University Press and Kaya Press. We produced 18 books, 4 more forthcoming in 2026. It's really cool to just have all these different voices assembled here at one time. And we do that quite often with DVAN through our podcast called Accented Dialogues in Diaspora. It features Vietnamese, but other diasporic voices as well from Southeast Asia and from other diasporic communities. We've done over 45 episodes, and 35 of those episodes are available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts right now. Annika, who's our producer for Accented, will probably drop those links there in the chat. I want to welcome our next speaker, Lan Duong. She is an associate professor in cinema and media studies at the University of Southern California. Her poetry has appeared in the anthologies Watermark, Vietnamese American Poetry and Prose, and Tilting the Continent, Southeast Asian American Writing, among other places. Her debut collection of poetry, Nothing Follows, was published by Texas Tech University Press in 2023. Hi, Lan.
Hi. Thanks, everybody,
Just
for
really
being.
quick, just really quick, Lan and Viet, do you two know each other? Because if not, you should really introduce yourselves to one another.
I try not to mix our personal and professional lives together.
Let's just say I'm up on the upstairs office, and he's in the downstairs office. And sometimes the twain will meet, but not always. But thank you so much for being here and celebrating one of my favorite poets, probably of all time, Bao Phi and his 50th. I also want to make a plug for DVAN. I wouldn't be here as a writer without DVAN. And so please donate if you can. So when Bao asked me to do this, I was so pleased, especially because I can trace a very strong lineage from my work to Bao's, from my thinking about song and protest to Bao. And so this work that I'm going to be reading from is part of a collection called Grieving is Not Passive, about Vietnam and Palestine, about illness and imperialism. So this poem will be a part of that somehow. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. The director of the arts residency where I'm at has a poster on her office door. It says, "Make art, not war." A declaration that harkens back to the Vietnam War, of course. Or was it a reference to the First and Second Indo-Chinese Wars, and then the American War that raised the country way before I was born? White women writers sitting pretty are plastered on her door, while a dinosaur typewriter squats outside the office, a reminder of the legacy and longevity of American arts and letters. As a fellow here, I read for the first time in a long time Frost's poem, the one that makes me picture myself tracking fresh snow among upright trees and feathered arms, and of moving forward. When I read it for the first time, I was green, loose-limbed, driving 75 on the 17. So I skated from word to word, stanza by stanza, and marveled at the efficient container that is the poem's quiet form. I decide then that poetry is where I place my grief. All the lessons were learned at that time. I will not use adverbs to describe. I will stick to the left side of the page and end on the right. I will speak through objective correlatives to refract, to detract from the particulars of mine. I will see each and jam it in dramatic terms. A line is a cliff to fall off from, like the young white heroine who does exactly that in that movie. You know, the one that starts with the word birth and ends on a nation. And for a long time, I accept this grammar, this diction, this lineage, this imagination as my own. Frost's words and his American woods blanket the stories that I keep, the words I have known. We refugee. We wear donated clothes to shield us from the beating cold. We are worn real thin, settling in settler land, not our own. My father is weary. He trudges through the fields, his boots, his legs swallowed by the snow. They are cleaved clean in the dense white. He is a man cut off at the knees. He carries me, holding my sister's hand to take us to school, back and forth, again, and then all over again. His house, I know now, is far from his village, and he will no longer live there. The man in the poem is a picture of what you might call rugged individualism, but what I call refugee survival. And what you think is his American work ethic is what I call refugee tenderness. So you see, it takes me time to disentangle the stories of Người Ta and my father's stories of Tôi and Moi. With promises to keep, I am here. The farthest away I have ever been from home in this country is this arts colony. A frigid line from west to east, it ushers me to snowy evenings laced in dark. I think about how people parse out words like art and war, and how these words later become stories that become literature, that later becomes part of a canon. And I ask you, how can I make art if not from war? And how can I not wage war with what you call art? Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lan. That was really moving. First time I've heard that poem, so I know something's been going on upstairs in the office that I'm not aware of. Lan's being too modest. She also co-edited DVAN's first book. It was called Troubling Borders, Literature and Art by Southeast Asian Women in the Diaspora. And I know that that book had an impact on quite a few readers, especially Southeast Asian women who found inspiration in that book to pursue careers in the arts and in academia. Our next speaker is Denizen Kane. He wrote a heap of poems and wandered around Chicago for a good long while, but he's gone now. So we're glad to have him here. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Dennis.
Hey, what's up, yo? Man, it's just an honor to be with all these all-time greats. I feel really, really humbled, man. And just want to say big up my homie Bao Phi. Love you, bro. And happy born day again. That's the big homie right there. This is an old Chicago war song. Now the reason for my calm in the gag of the storm is the fact that my heart is a ticking time bomb. I pay postage on kites to the next life with mites that the widow dropped down into the poor box tonight. Now the reason for my calm in the gag of the storm is the fact that my heart is a ticking time bomb, and I'm resigned to the moment the explosion will sound. Citadels be felled, lay their domes to the ground. Life is so real that it feels like fiction. I see the devil in detail and God in the contradiction. I rock a Bible with the mirror in the binding, and I carry my creator inside me. I'm a rider when life is so hard for the pure in heart. We try our best to rub dirt into the scars. The pain we bear is the chain we wear. What you endure becomes pure, so I take my share of the sorrow and the trouble, and this poem is the proof. Caesar couldn't bleed enough to see my truth. While he commands Roman bands to come and slay my youth, can I pray with a double-edged blade? And who ever feels clever or brave can come through. We don't duck, we don't dodge, we open arms, so shoot. Where I fall, I swear the rose of Sharon grows there. Bury me and my mother, you hear, I'm not scared. Father and son become one, and rope sung from the rafters, fine blasts from the barrels of lost guns. We'll fly away to where the story gets spun, where the legends all wait for the last brother to come. I pay postage on kites to the next life with mites, that the widow dropped down into the poor box tonight. The ox I plowed with is fit in the cutter. Got a mansion in the heavens in the name of my grandmother. Sweaty hands clutch amber quarters, felt markers. I tag the broadside of eternity as it lumbers. But all I scribe is horse meat and lies. It'll take me to die to feel what's inside. My soul got gold grills, got 5 on the light bill. I leave pots to cool on these silver plate sills and roll spliffs with the glyphs of Greek myths despite chills. Time of death was until, drug of choice was more please. Judas tucked the till, envy's the disease. I flatten my soul with a rolling pin, Lord. Slide pancakes and japes under jams of the doors. I'm lost. I got clues and no plans, but hold court like a jester. My dreams swoon and fester for sport. My teeth glint and glitter. I'm pudgeoning guns. Buddha chicken and rice. Bad jokes and puns, leftover lives in the army-based stew, tin cans of spam, a DMZ with a view. You can take the boy out the existential crisis, but you can't take the crisis up out of the board, or so I felt. I broke them all down from Soa to San Rafael. Their world be Gabbana and Lagerfeld. My world be Mortadell and these rifle shells. And you can go on about your muons and gluons, but you'll see true on and flow not flew on. I don't know about this neocon bullshit that you on. The walls are true on, whichever coast who won some confrontation or chew on tables of time, and your poem got no nuance. And please, my Jesus piece, it got a Jesus piece, and the tears in my poems run down its gold cheeks, and we drink this ink and tears and grief together. That's all I got. Yeah.
That was amazing. Thanks so much, Dennis. That was a really terrific performance. Don't ask what segue into this next bit, but I mean, Denizen's performance makes me think about the fact that DVAN also, besides promoting literature and poetry and residencies and publications and all that, we're also trying to foreground the way by which we also need other representations in art, in movies, and in Hollywood and so on. So we came up with something called the DVAN list. It's a curated selection of novels and short stories by Vietnamese writers that we've recommended for film and TV adaptations. So our 2024 DVAN list featured The Chosen and the Beautiful, a novel by Jennii Vo, Ngọn Pháo Bông, Fireworks by Nguyễn Thị Thuy Vũ, and Things We Lost to the Water by Parag Khandhar. Just 3 really, really terrific books. So our next performer is Douglas Kearney. He's published 8 books ranging from poetry to essays. In 2023, Optic Subwoof, a collection of his Bagley Wright lectures, won the Poetry Foundation's Pegasus Prize for Poetry Criticism and the COMP Firecracker Award for Creative Nonfiction. His 7th book, Show, is a Griffin Poetry Prize and Minnesota Book Award winner. Hi, Douglas.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Biddy! I mean, I was under the impression we were going to do happy poems and shit. So I didn't have anything that I could have read. So I was so happy to see where this has landed. All right. So yeah, the word utopia means not place. That's all you need. Not place number 1. Utopia keep the gunniest cops for to stay utopia. Gunnishness, a shapeshift of contextual flavor, viz. Order. Gunful where we at is gun-filled in concertina and HOA. There are no more synonymous than fang and venom is. The gunned-up cops utopic in their gentle lope, swooping. Oh, utopia for who? Utopia staying utopia for who? To assume a who to say much of what utopia mean. Every utopic dream a mirror with the dreamer in it. Every utopic dream gunderful. Some utopic dreamers dream the gunning done for them before they come to make it utopia. Sometimes nature a cop or technology one, but these utopic dreamers never persons of interest in nature's raid. The robots neither, though some want metaphor for to make it Eden, so there is theirs. Walking ass backward from flood to garden gates, closed with the flaming sword like a gun staying. No, it staying into the garden. like a gun. Stay, no, stay, into the garden. So for some, utopia nopes that. Every utopic dream, a mirror with the dreamer in it. And guntastic cops that sometimes the dreamer is one. The utopic dreamer dream they stay gun impotent. The condition of utopia, they'd rather no flood, no robot with their own hands. They build utopia, gunstruction. These dreamers want the button for to press. The former want the button push. They hands clean. They hands clean. They believe the gun enthusiastic cops what come before what was done, push the button. In their name, even silent. The latter rather dirty. They gun satisfied hands. Before they wash them, they set to dirty them again. If they gotta do what they gotta do, they do it to death. Utopia keep the gunsational cops for to stay in utopia. Whatever utopic dreamer mean to have this happened to another mirror facing over yonder. Not place number 2. To make of aware a place is to noun it, and to noun is to noun not it. Nouning not what's not the noun, a border. A noun, a border of what it is. A noun can be full of nouns as person, place, thing, or idea, an idea thing. But what they mean cleaving idea from thing, they mean to set a border between the abstract and concrete. Who they? They what get to say what nouns is. They is an abstraction what cross a border into the concrete. That thing. They stop being the concrete when they cross back over to abstraction. What's on the other side of their border? Sand, scrub, yucca, a list of nouns as groceries for voracious sentences. Treaties, Superfund, pipeline, ice, Palestine, search and destroy operation, nouns cleaving. A place, a noun full of nouns is what it make a place. A place can be a proper noun, United States, or not. Shithole. A noun, shithole, turns adjective when outnoun by another noun. Country, a shithole country, a shithole, a noun full of nouns, shit, piss, pest, pestilence, a whole place full of at least one noun, it's nothing. A shithole, a place, a thing, an idea, a noun, what can be out noun, abject into adjective, united in adjective, term proper noun, proper. A shithole country, thus a country-sized hole of shit, full of shit, piss, pest, pestilence, and nothing. Shit, a noun out now by whole. Shit, a noun, adjective, verb, even as shit don't mean shit. As a shithole country don't mean shit to United States. United States suggests borders up in another border. What unites the states is not unity, but not being what they call a shithole country. United isn't an adjective, as it doesn't describe the defining condition of the states. It's a proper noun. United, only indivisible from the states. To make of aware a place is to noun it. And to noun it is to not it. Nouning not what's not the noun, a border. This don't erase the place, but nouns it placing a nothing around it, what fills what other nouns is not it. The border, 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 between the persons, places, things, ideas, United States, and shithole country is nouns whole shit. To make of aware a never ever there. Thank you.
That was great. That was great. Who will ever forget that phrase now? We're almost to, well, actually, we are at the end. Bao Phi is our next reader, the man of the hour. Before he comes on board, just want to plug DVAN one more time. Many different ways to donate. Annika will drop those in the chat again. A couple more things to share about DVAN. Did you know that DVAN curated a traveling exhibition called Textures of Remembrance, which shares works made within and for the Vietnamese diaspora community? You can catch the exhibit at the Hagen Museum in Stockton, California, beginning on March 30th, or bring it to your community by contacting Exhibit Envoy. The exhibit's last run will be at the San Francisco Public Library Skylight Gallery from November 2025 to January 2026. And now here we are with Bao Phi. Wow, he's a legend. What can I say? He's a Vietnamese American refugee, a Minnesotan, a spoken word artist, a poet, a children's book author, and a single co-parent father, and a really, really good Facebook writer. In case you're not his Facebook friend, maybe if you beg him hard enough, he'll add you. He has 2 poetry collections, Song I Sing and Thousand Star Hotel, both published by Coffeehouse Press, and he's authored 4 picture books, including You Are Life and A Different Pond. And I credit A Different Pond with inspiring my son Ellison to write his first children's book, because Ellison met Bao Phi at one of these writers' residencies that DVAN sponsored at Jurassic Resident Artist Colony in Northern California. And out of that, we got a whole children's book. So that's all you, Bao. You've been an inspiration to many generations. So proud to have you here and doing this both for your 50th and for DVAN.
Thank you so much. And artists, poets, I can't thank you all enough. If I started with my stories of how much I respect and value both your work and who you are as people in my life, we would be here for another hour. And I think the best thing I can do for you all is to stay on time so that you all can go to bed early or on time because we're all old and grown and we got adulting to do. But just know that I am grateful beyond words, and I have so much gratitude for you all. Again, certainly for your work, but also for who you are in my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And Viet, like I was, fucking around earlier, but for those of you who don't know our host, Viet Thanh Nguyen, first of all, thank you, Viet, for doing the dirty work of getting people to donate so I can just like listen and be neurotic and nervous about my set. Thank you, Viet, for doing that. For those of you who don't know Viet, he's a Pulitzer Prize winning novelist, The Sympathizer, which just got turned into an HBO series. He did the tricky person of color thing where he made one white man do like 8 jobs. In that series, really great work, Viet. You already know how much. I hope you already know how much. Actually, let me back up a little bit. So he's written The Sympathizer. That's a big deal. The sequel. He's written a memoir, a really great number of short stories. Um, but the thing, Viet, that I never say to you probably because I don't want you to think that I'm kissing your ass is that I feel like I say this to other people when you're not around. Is that in my experience, there's not a lot of artists who get to the level that you do and still remain that committed to community, social justice, and other artists trying to bring them along with you. And I have a tremendous, enormous amount of respect for you for that, for using your platform for good, and for trying to bring as many of us along with you as possible. So thank you for that. All right, I'm gonna try to stay on time here. I'm gonna roll through these poems. I'll read the title before I kick them off if there is one. The only thing I want you to know is I wrote most of this when I was like really pissed off during COVID, but I'm gonna end with a poem that's a little bit happier. All right. Ode to a $6 Vietnamese cinnamon donut. Your artisan ingredients from the motherland should have transformed me with one bite. It did not. So now I stare at your broken form and ask, what have you done for the people? What have you done to address anti Blackness in the community or settler colonialism? What have you done for trans kids? We are a beautiful but suffering people, Donut. Where is your flag? Your trumpet? The saddle for your elephant? Where is your sword chipped from biting into armor? Your belt adorned with dozens of screaming skulls of colonizers? Instead, you're the portrait of a corpulent with their mouth open, not woke, but mouth gaping in slumber. No, you're the ghost of a life preserver, and I'm drowning. No, full moon with your gut punched out. Donut, I need you, as empty at the center as you are, to be the promise of a full circle, not this crumbling thing broken by my own teeth. MIA, missing in Asia. If the stories, oh, sorry. If the stories tell us Italians sang beautifully across their balconies to one another, while the Chinese squatted dutifully in dull gray concrete squares, as they were told, what did this teach our hearts? If the report says Black, Indigenous, and Latinx suffered disproportionately from COVID, parentheses, fine print says it was conducted only in English and Spanish. What did this train our minds? If all the murals of solidarity that my child sees mention Black, white, Indigenous, Latinx, women, LGBTQI, plus the working class, the poor, people with disabilities, what jigsaw hole gapes missing in that puzzle of solidarity? If Asian people are deported, beaten, mauled in the same streets we walk, work, sing, march on now, but also after 9/11, after Buy American, after Vietnam, after Japs not welcome, after what does this say about our souls? For all the Asian men I've been mistaken for. Beginning with a quote from Mahmoud Darwish, what doesn't resemble me is more beautiful. I should be flattered. It's always someone more handsome and talented. And shouting, how can you not know who I am, is not really my jam. Is being tired of disassociating a thing? I've long since given up the idea the universe owes me, let alone micro whatevs, which sometimes feels like major whatevs, that I minimize so I can stop fucking talking about them. Asian men, we're the embodiment of, well, it could be worse. Asian men, our pain is the sound of one hand clapping. But who cares about the noise of one tree falling in the burning down forest called America? But really, what is a who? To assign meaning to vague outlines in the shape of other, to tell the story of the way we carry ourselves from the wreckage a bully has made of us. Ignore places that mark us zero, like Democratic or Republican conventions or dating apps. Oh no, now everyone thinks this is about representation or getting into someone's pants, when really it's about, well, I can't even tell anymore. I just want to see you like someone who can be mistaken for me. On the idea that Asians are closest in proximity to whiteness. I want to win a bike race by pedaling backwards. Charge $10 for water gushing from a garden hose. Sell rust instead of rust proofing. Buy all the lottery tickets with 3 out of 6 numbers hitting. In some alternate reality, they have flying cars, but they haven't invented seatbelts. I prefer AI generated nudes. Lao Tzu was just Elon Musk's Twitter handle. The Bible was written by 200 Google employees typing in tandem. I blame Starbucks workers for the corporation being anti union. The fan base of the football team that donated to Blue Lives Matter is more progressive than the ones with the racist mascot and the name. Well, actually, the Winchester rifle invented gunpowder. It was the Chinese who stole the idea to blaze flowers in the night sky from those smoking barrels. A country was liberated using proceeds from American leftist t-shirt sales. Everybody's already read Okihiro. Back to the wall. Bang! Insides gush out. The fly is called a fly swatter. We shouldn't play oppression Olympics, but Asians are the least oppressed, lols. I'm reminded of all the men of color conscripted to war, side by side with my father and against people who looked like my father, including our relatives. How we were hated, how we're still hated, in this country that won't dig a hole for our bodies but expect our ghosts to give up haunting. Deport us. Bomb countries full of people who look like us or look adjacent to us. Say we cause COVID and we're eating our pets, but still vote for me. Should I tell every story of goop this, chink that, collect pearls of white tears shed for us, and buy myself a tiny corner of this land that doesn't even belong to me, that I'll paint myself into, this country where I'm told by everyone to make room for everyone, when no one who says everyone ever means my people? Our flag is never the right color and surely not the right size. But I don't want to add my flag to the flutter. They're all dyed in blood and planted and stolen or soon to be stolen or burnt in bomb fields. I don't wish anyone to suffer in our stead. Instead, I imagine what it would be like for no one to ever have to write this poem. Um, do, 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 do. All right. When a home is not a home. My child is a home that never keeps change. I'm sorry. When a home is not a home. My child is a home that keeps changing shape. When they were 7, watching the news, seeing brown children in cages, my child turned to me and asked if men in uniform would come take them away, take their grandma away, to somewhere they don't know and know no one, even though nothing wrong was done. I remember all the times my parents held me while they trembled with the fear they told me about, but that I didn't comprehend. I was already lost to the music from the radio, books in the library, with bright boxes in the toy aisle in this America where I was not born but was all I knew. My mom asked me what I wanted, and I said, I just want a safe place to raise my child. And she laughed and said to me in Vietnamese, no place is safe. When you become a parent, everyone drives too fast, got too many guns, don't speak enough languages. When I am away from my child, even if the distance is not as great as an ocean or a visa or a horizon of iron bars, I feel a pain that I have no words for, and words are all I have. I used to think my child changed shape because all life is trouble. But really, they change because they need to house what is inside of them. I hope no one ever takes that from them. This world is bigger than any of us. So why do we keep making homes smaller for one another? Born in a war, I am made of what I know and what I can't know, but that weighs me down, all of it moving with me from place to place, across borders made of law, of nature, of fear, of race, of money. How many times in this life will we stand, who knows where, wondering who will take us from home? Oh, no. Middle-aged emo gangster to the edge of panic. About to go to the corner and cry, motherfucker. For a good long, long while, motherfucker. Face worn off from fake smiles, motherfucker. World sleeping slowly but lie, motherfucker. Bury it, burn it, say hi, motherfucker. Don't believe your therapist, 5'5", motherfucker. Waterfalls roll behind your eyes, motherfucker. Helpless to the pull of the tides, motherfucker. In the twilight lies what belies, motherfucker. Not a thing to hide behind, motherfucker. All right. Got one poem left. And I just want to say again, just immense gratitude to the folks at DVAN for saying yes when I had this crazy ass idea. I want to thank Viet, um, all the artists, of course, today, and really all of y'all who showed up, who are here on Zoom. I'm sorry if I didn't respond to every one of you personally. I can't tell you how much this means to me that you all showed up and supported. Um, really, truly. So this is my last poem. I don't have a title for it yet. Let me tell you, I've been wanting to sing to you, backed by all the percussion of a child of war brings. Or maybe I'm the song of the sun if it could absorb me without loving me. Or maybe my song is about raindrops radiating sound, out in ripples no voice can truly ever match, least of all mine. You see, I never could sing, not really. These songs echoing from the bomb craters, from the ones that missed us, made up of ghost lyrics from the stories that left out my mother and father. This song haunting the rubber plantations of French occupation, how they disappeared my grandfather for speaking out, the ghosts of the millions who starved inside a rice bowl, bursting. I turn the radio up in my car and sing real bad as I pass the parking lot in my parents' neighborhood every day on the way to work. Homeless encampment one day, tore down the next. Sing along with me now. That song, from the where of where you really from, the sink and bobber of my native tongue, which when spoken correctly sounds like singing and I can barely speak. In so many words, the song of those born elsewhere. Alternate versions of me sing from sweatshop and Google cubicle, undocumented sweating in the kitchen, Target junior executive suite, chanting while kicking dirt-encrusted soccer balls at refugee camps, wheeze from the chemical-wasted lungs of nail salon workers. This song shaped from prison cells and police academy desks. Lyrically Bruce Lee and Long Duk Dong, too short wick on a stick of dynamite, fireworks across the sky. Yeah, noodles, paper, and printing press too, but all people think people who look like me brought into this world is COVID. So this is some type of history song of 19 Chinese men and boys' legs jerking in a kind of dance as they were lynched in Los Angeles. Forgive my cough as we choke on smoke absent from the history books, singing this emo ballad about that gap between bad gook and good little brown brother, that space between problem and ghost, the frayed thread between the village tapestry and the colonizer's flag. I check my stage attire in the mirror, and I look like the Vietnamese supporting Stacey Abrams, and I look like the Vietnamese who supported Trump. Oh, how I wish I had a lullaby for my child, who at age 6 threw a quarter into a well and wished I wouldn't yell at them so much. What song would that water sing back to me as it looked back at its own broken reflection? I am sorry that I am the one that is your sky, your horizon, built out of these storm clouds. And now, if we add the opera of not doing enough for my aging parents still in Phillips, I'd want to sing in the right key to heal the wound, the specific wound of every person I've ever hurt, in that worst voice, which is all I have. I'd wail on about lighthouses, fields of sunflowers, a sky so blue that it goes from ache to awe for you, rusty sunsets, and galvanized hearts. I used to think the stars didn't care, but now I know. They just took too long. No one wants to hear the story each trails behind it. They only care about the light that reaches them. You will stand by the ocean, not a metaphor, but wave upon wave upon wave of heartbreaking beauty, and you'll mean less to it than it does to you. If this is going to be a sad song, but aren't they all sad songs? Hoping for a love letter, but it's just a bill that doesn't even spell your name right. Junk mail to current resident. Wishing for a text from your crush, but it's just the daily deal from Pizza Hut. Or a day where no assault rifles bark their own song at a school, no bombs or police batons raining down in the world, in our neighborhoods as we sit at our screens, making our keyboards yell about who is doing the right thing. More and more, I feel like this world is not for me. But don't fret. This part is not about pity or a plea. It just means we, you and me, got to dream of a better world to be, a better song for all, and I mean all. I wouldn't dream of bad things happening to my worst enemies because now I just dream. I wish you, the murmur of fireflies free in the night, summer wind as warm on your face as a song that saves your life, a ballad of oxtail and mangosteen, star anise and cinnamon and chicory, awkward dances in cafeterias to 90s hip hop and flip flops on hot blacktops, comfortable snow pants in January, friendly bodega cats, a song about overdue fines at the library and that atom of warm space between lovers, quietly reading books together. Let me just say, plainly, the right song with the right voice at the right time, the right thing from the right source at the right time. I hope you always turn it down low, so only you can hear the song that saves your trembling life. I hope you can turn it up to 11, and the world sees the defiance of your dancing. Love, I still can't sing, but when I turn the volume up, and the ones meant and not meant to sing drown me out, I can pretend I can, and we all sound like a mess together that can only be heard as beautiful.
Thanks so much, Val. That was really incredible. And of course, what strikes me is that you're still angry after all these years. Getting to middle age didn't make you less angry, but maybe also added some other depths of emotion that we saw in these poems. I want to read Douglas Kearney's comment about your work. Bao's angriest poems are love poems to his peoples. I cannot imagine my work without thinking of that kind of love, that kind of anger, and what it drives a person to say. And I've quoted your poems at least a couple of times in my own books. I love your use of shut the fuck up in a couple of these poems. You say things that many of us would love to say if we had the guts to do that. I want to thank all of our poets for bringing their best selves and their work tonight to share it with all of you, to share it with Bao, to share it with DVAN and our fundraiser. Annika is going to drop some more of those fundraising links in the chat window. DJ Puzzle has pre-recorded some of his mix for us. We'll hear from that on the way out. And the last thing I want to mention is, did you know that DVAN is putting on a major event in San Francisco on April 26th, 2025? And of course, the reason is April 30th is the 50th anniversary of the end of the war in Vietnam. And some of our poets made references to that war, but also connecting that war to many, many other wars and many, many other really crucial issues. But our event is called Still We Rise, 50 years after the Vietnam War. Did you know that the show will feature award-winning artists of the Vietnamese diaspora, including Bao, the poet Paul Tran, the photographer Anh My Lê, youth poet laureates, and the indie rock star Tao Nguyen? Well, now you know. Hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks once again to Bao and to all the poets, to all of you for showing up and supporting DVAN. Take care, everybody.
คิดรังแกเจ็บใจแท้ตอแหลก็เก่ง